Hey, what's up everybody? It's the People's Crypto. I'm back again with another video. I know it's been extremely long time, and I've been on this weird hiatus and I haven't made a video in months. But I thought this video was extremely important and I really wanted to bring it to everyone's attention because yes, we have the Bitcoin maximalists talking about how they love Bitcoin and it's the best coin and it's the only coin. And there's this kind of like weird Highlander, it's the only one type of narrative, which is completely fine. And then you have the people who are all on ETH and ETH is going to flip Bitcoin, and that's perfectly fine. But one thing people really need to pay attention to, and they seem to forget this, is that, I hate to say this, but almost all cryptocurrencies are surveillance coins. These coins can be traced back to you if you don't use multiple addresses, which many people don't do, especially if you're new to the space. Another thing is, when you use exchanges like Coinbase or Gemini, they have KYC rules, which is know your customer. And in order for you to even use these websites, which 9 out of 10 people use when they're first getting into the cryptocurrency space, you have to provide them with a government issued ID. That could be a driver's license or a passport, something linking you to the account you're about to open. Now this is extremely dangerous because let's say you've taken a selfie, you've uploaded your government document, and now fine. Now this account is linked to your identity. Let's say you bought 1 Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes to the moon. You've actually done the right thing and you've taken your money off the exchange and you put it on a Ledger Nano S or X, or you put it on a Trezor or whatever hardware wallet you're using. The issue becomes this: if you haven't created an additional address to move that over, Coinbase, Gemini, and Binance US all have a record of you moving that crypto to that address. And this becomes a problem because if hackers target these exchanges, not necessarily for the crypto on the exchange, but just for customer information, this could actually be extremely dangerous for you as a crypto owner. Now think about it. Just a couple months ago, we had an issue where Ledger was hacked for customer information. So a bunch of people were receiving text messages from hackers pretending to be Ledger. They were also receiving emails and just basically getting harassed saying that, hey, you know, something is going on with your Ledger. We need you to click on this link and we need you to update your software or your firmware or whatever. Some people unfortunately got caught. Ledger had to send out emails indicating that they were hacked, and it was this whole big thing. Now imagine if that happens with Coinbase. Hackers would have your address, they would know what you look like, and they would also assume that you would have a certain amount of Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other crypto assets that you purchase. Now this becomes dangerous because these hackers could potentially pay you a visit, or they could, you know, stay posted outside of your home, break into your home and do a home invasion. Like, these are things to really consider. And this is what makes cryptocurrency extremely dangerous, especially if we go to the moon. What if Bitcoin becomes $1 million? Hackers would be dying to get into Coinbase to at least get the customer information. Also, another weird thing that might happen is, who's to say that the people working at Coinbase won't leak some of that information to people that they know and say, hey, this person purchased X amount of Bitcoin. I have his address. I have his selfie. This is what the person looked like. We just can't trust these exchanges. And also, this is why privacy is a really big deal in the cryptocurrency space. And there are alternatives. there are a bunch of privacy coins. Now, there's an article that was written a couple months ago, and Barry Silbert said privacy will become a more popular investing theme, and I would have to agree with him. However, I would disagree with the coins that he mentioned in the article. He talks about Zcash, which has a privacy feature, but it's not completely private. So those transactions can still be traced back to you. And that's like another thing too. Like if you're using Bitcoin or Ethereum, there's block explorers. And if you send someone $100 worth of Bitcoin, and let's say Bitcoin is worth $200,000, if you don't change your address or move that Bitcoin to a new address, that person can actually look up your BTC address and see how much you have. And here's an example of what one of those Bitcoin address lookup websites are. Now, this is just one of them. There's also an Ethereum one. There's one for Zcash. There's one for every public blockchain. And this is why public blockchains, I believe, are somewhat bad. Because for anyone to have the ability to look up and potentially even do an audit of how much Bitcoin you have, that could become extremely dangerous. Especially if we all do go to the moon and Bitcoin becomes $1 million or $2 million. Sending transactions will be pretty annoying because, yeah, you can send someone $100, but then you have to take whatever amount of Bitcoin you have and you have to create a new wallet and send that Bitcoin there just so that they know, okay, this wallet is empty. But then they can still track you along the way and say, okay, he sent this money to this new wallet or this new address. And they would still somewhat know that, okay, you have all of this money. So that's really the issue with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so many other public blockchains. Now, the answer to that, believe it or not, is privacy coins. And one privacy coin, which you probably are aware of, which you'll probably never hear the mainstream media talk about, is Monero. Now, I believe Monero is a great privacy coin, and I think this is what Bitcoin should have been. A completely private cryptocurrency where it cannot be tracked or traced to you. Now, they have a desktop wallet and they also have a website explaining in more detail what Monero is. Now, the thing is, Monero will probably go to the moon, but do you really want to spend $247.24 at the time of me recording this video on Monero? You could. Will it go to the moon? I would say, yeah, at some point in the future, it probably would maybe hit maybe $5,000 or $10,000, which sounds completely insane. But it's very possible because now we live in a society where censorship is an extremely real thing now. You can't say certain things on Facebook, Instagram, or on YouTube if it doesn't go along with the mainstream media narrative. Regardless to whatever your views are, if you say something that's not politically correct, you can be censored, shadow banned, or you could be just removed altogether from all those platforms. So that's something to consider. Also, another thing which people don't talk about is, let's say you go on the dark web. Why you're on the dark web, I have no idea. This is just an example. But let's say you're trying to buy medicine, which I don't know if people really do buy medicine on the dark web. They probably buy, like, drugs and stuff, whatever drug of your choice is. But anyway, let's say you're going to buy something on the dark web. You use your Coinbase account. You send the Bitcoin to wherever it's going to be sent. And for whatever reason, Coinbase sees this. They can actually suspend your account. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but they do actually have the power to do that. They see your transactions, so they know where your money is going. So you can lose your Coinbase account just like that, just for sending money to a dark web website. So that's something to be mindful of. All of these transactions are public, and that's really, unfortunately, one of the bad things about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and many other public cryptocurrencies, is that all of this stuff can be tracked and traced back to you. And also, it doesn't help that you give up your identity. Now, one thing you have to remember is that the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, he, she, or them, or whoever created it, was anonymous. No one knew who Satoshi Nakamoto is. I mean, till this day, we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Now, imagine that. Isn't it ironic that the creator of Bitcoin was anonymous? He never had to reveal his identity. So why should you have to reveal your identity in order to buy Bitcoin? It doesn't make sense, and it's dangerous. And it's funny because he actually somewhat mentions this. Let's take a look at this website. Bitcoin privacy. Bitcoin transactions are pseudonymous, but if you don't follow the simple rule, your identity may be revealed. Now, when we sign up for Coinbase, when we sign up for Binance US, or when we sign up for, I think even KuCoin to a certain degree, you do have, well, KuCoin, you don't necessarily have to upload your credentials, but some people do it anyway because they're so used to that. You reveal your identity. Once you do that, you become a target to hackers, to even your government. It just opens the floodgate for people to look for you, especially if we go to the moon. Imagine that Bitcoin goes to $1 million, and now these exchanges know, okay, you bought Bitcoin at this price. They can easily do the math and figure out, okay, you have this much Bitcoin. They can cooperate with the authorities and point them in your direction. Say, hey, this person here has bought Bitcoin. You might want to go after him, especially if he hasn't paid his taxes. So that's something also to be mindful of. And this is why I say privacy coins like Monero are a great option. Now, if Monero is too expensive for you, there's another alternative. You can go to something like Pirate Chain. Pirate Chain is also a privacy coin. It's not as popular as Monero, but it's getting there. At one point in time, this particular cryptocurrency was a couple cents, and it has just shot up. I think all the way up to, I believe it was, well, on this chart it says about $13, but I think other charts I remember seeing it being anywhere from 16 to about, yeah, I'd say like 1680. So with this particular chart here on CoinMarketCap, it says its previous high was $13 as of this year. But this is another alternative. People cannot look up your transactions. It's completely private, which it's going to be an important theme moving forward in the next coming years, especially as the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all of these other cryptocurrencies go to the moon. So remember, if you bought Bitcoin on Coinbase, Cash App, Gemini Exchange, they have your information. They know you're buying crypto. They know how much you're buying. They know where you're withdrawing to, unless you're using things like mixers where you can shuffle up your Bitcoin or your Ethereum. These things can be traced back to you. And if they do go to the moon, which we're all in crypto for that particular reason, this could be really, really dangerous, especially if you don't change your wallet addresses frequently, which most people are lazy and they're not going to do that. So they're probably going to be using the same address multiple times, which Satoshi Nakamoto suggested that you shouldn't do. But I don't think Satoshi Nakamoto would also agree with the whole know your customer thing. Remember, nobody knows who Satoshi is. So keep that in mind. Pirate Chain potentially could go up to $100 or $200 in the future. If you get it now, you can buy a good amount. But then there's another option. Now, this option, I know I'm probably going to get some slack for it. And the other option is a privacy coin called Bitcoin Confidential. Yes, I know. It's another coin named Bitcoin. But hear me out. This coin is fractions of a cent. Now, if we had coins like Dogecoin, what's another one? Shiba Inu. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But if we had those other coins go particularly high, and some people became millionaires, some people made a couple 100,000. It's completely fine, and those coins had no use case, and the support behind those coins was completely insane and completely irrational. But here we have Bitcoin Confidential. It's fractions of a cent. You can scoop up a ton of this for next to nothing. It's cheaper than Monero, and it's also cheaper than Pirate Chain. So hear me out. I know the Bitcoin maxis, if you're watching this, you're going to probably say, oh, this is a SHIT coin. Completely understandable. I get it, because it has the Bitcoin name, and you might even say Monero or Pirate Chain is because you're probably a Bitcoin fanatic, which is completely fine, and I get it, and I understand it. I'm not saying that this is going to be the next Bitcoin. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is this presents a really good opportunity for someone to get some privacy coins for next to nothing, and if we get a major following behind it, kind of like how Doge did, this could potentially make you a millionaire. Will Pirate Chain make you a millionaire? Probably, if you have a lot of money, yeah, and you buy, boatloads of it, yeah, and it gets adoption and it gets a crazy following, then yeah, that Pirate Chain can actually make you a millionaire. Could Monero do the same thing? Yeah, it could potentially make you a millionaire too. However, Monero is extremely expensive. Pirate Chain, some people probably feel like they missed the boat. Here you have another opportunity. This is Bitcoin Confidential. It's a privacy coin. It has a desktop wallet. They have a Discord page. They also have a Twitter account, and it is completely under the radar. Yes, the trading volume is pretty bad, but it's still early. It has a fixed supply of 9.6 billion coins. Total circulating supply is 7.3 billion. I get it. It's definitely not Bitcoin, and it's not trying to be. However, it's giving you the option of having some secrecy, which we're not going to really have too much privacy in the future. So this is something to really consider. Maybe just putting $70. You don't even have to put a lot of money. This is completely not investment advice. This is just something you should really consider to take a look at. It wouldn't hurt. Like, people were buying Dogecoin, for God's sakes. This thing had absolutely no use case. The fanfare behind it didn't make any sense. People don't know that, Dogecoin doesn't have a fixed supply. It has an unlimited supply. And people just took it and ran with it. Now, if we had that same type of support behind privacy coins like Monero or Pirate Chain or Bitcoin Confidential, then this particular coin could eventually go from being ranked 1,517 to at least in the top 200, maybe even the top 100. That's if we get that same type of support behind these privacy coins. At some point, people will figure out that, okay, Bitcoin is a surveillance coin. I hate to say it, but it's the truth. You can track Bitcoin. If you want to go down that whole New World Order rabbit hole, then yes, it falls in line with it. It's giving people something to cheer on for a cashless society, and that's the negatives, in all honesty, with Bitcoin. And I like Bitcoin, but I do think that there's a place for privacy coins in the market. It's still early. We already see the censorship that's going on with people saying certain things about certain health issues going on globally. Whether you believe it or not, that is completely all up to you. But people are being censored. Presidents are being censored. outspoken people who are going against certain narratives are being censored. Whether you want to believe it, that is up to you. Whether you support it, that is up to you. However, I believe privacy is the new gold. Not so much Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is digital gold 2.0, or 1.0, or whatever you feel like calling Bitcoin. But privacy is gold. We don't get privacy anymore. Pick up your phone and run some errands for about 5 days straight. Your phone, that 6th day, will tell you how long it will take from you to get to point A to point B. And that's just insane. And that's just the tracking GPS software and the AI that's in the phone. So they know where you're going. It sounds creepy. If you hook up your car, if you plug in your smartphone to your car, it'll tell you where your car is parked. These are all things that's happening right now in real time. So privacy is getting eroded. And think about it. If you use a credit card or a debit card, all your transactions are saved by your bank or any of these other financial entities. They have all of this information, and they can also sell this information. So that's just something really to be mindful of. Yes, this coin is called Bitcoin Confidential. You may not like the name, but the tech behind it is unique, it's great, and it's private. So these are really things to consider. I know this video is probably not going to get any likes, which is completely fine, but this is just something really to think about. You don't have to agree with me. I'm going to at least put $70 in this thing. It beats putting $70 into Dogecoin, in my opinion. They have a desktop wallet, which you can download to your laptop or desktop. And they have a website. They have somewhat of a following. This is just something to be mindful of. And if you get in early, and let's say you make some memes promoting Bitcoin Confidential, or if you just tell a friend, hey, I'm getting into this thing, word of mouth in the cryptocurrency space goes a very long way. Look at where Doge and Shiba Inu, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but look at where those coins went. And then the other ridiculous coins like, pardon my French, cum rocket, tits, and ass. Yes, these were cryptocurrencies. I think some of them are still actively being traded. But this is just something you should really consider. Privacy coins, I believe, will be a thing in the future. It's still early. Unfortunately, there is that narrative that, yes, privacy coins are used by drug dealers and all of these illicit players, which is completely understandable if you have that concern. Also, someone else may say, well, if I'm not doing anything wrong, then why would I need a privacy coin? It goes beyond that point. The fact is, in the future, unfortunately, we all will be tracked and monitored. You will have no privacy. All your transactions will be recorded on the blockchain instead of it being recorded by a corporation. But then again, it still would be recorded by a corporation, because then you have Coinbase, you have Cash App, and you have Binance US, which have digital fingerprints of what you look like. So if there's ever a hack in the future and you're sitting on 10, 20, 30, 40, or some outrageous amount of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any other cryptocurrency, and that information is leaked, guess who's going to be coming for you? Probably won't be the government. Then again, they could also come for you as well if you don't pay your taxes. But it could be some hacker or something far worse. So that's just something really to be mindful of. Remember, the creator of Bitcoin was Satoshi Nakamoto, and we still to this day do not know who Satoshi Nakamoto is. But guess what? Coinbase, Kraken, Cash App, and Binance US, they know who you are. They know what you look like. And if that information ever gets out and we do go to the moon and hackers somehow, some way get that information, guess where they'll be coming? They'll be showing up right to your front door. Hopefully not, but that's the scary future that we have. So that's going to do it for this video, and this is just really something you should really look into and discuss this with friends. Share the video, leave a comment. I know listen, you can say whatever you want. I know this seems like I'm shilling coins. That's not really my intention here at all. But you have an opportunity to become wealthy in a private fashion. I know you're probably looking at all of these other early Bitcoin investors, and they're in Lambos and they're having the time of their lives on their social media, and you know, things seem like it's going great for them, which is cool. I respect it. To each his own. But at some point, they're going to need bodyguards. They're probably going to have to tone it down a little bit, because things could really have a crazy twist of fate at some point where, let's say Bitcoin's $1 million and these guys been in for so long, they may become targets. That's something to be mindful of. And they would only become targets because they put their faces out there. This is why I kind of like refrain from putting my face to my page. Because let's say, yeah, we go to the moon. I don't want everybody knowing that, oh, hey, that guy bought Bitcoin at this price. No, you can kind of figure that out. So these are just things to be mindful of. And yes, please do your own research. Look into privacy coins. You have Monero, you have Pirate Chain, and now you have Bitcoin Confidential. It is still relatively cheap. I think if you bought at least $70 worth, let's see, I think I have another page here. Yeah, if you bought $100 worth, you would get 430,000 coins. And also, an interesting thing with Bitcoin Confidential is you can actually stake it and you can get staking rewards. You can't get that with Monero, and you definitely cannot get that with Pirate Chain. So that's just something to be mindful of. Look at the amount of coins you get for virtually nothing, $100. So, you know, if we can get a big community behind Bitcoin Confidential like we had for Doge and Shiba Inu, I'm probably saying it wrong, but then, you know, you could potentially get life-changing wealth. Like, do you seriously want to wait a couple of halvings and you put, let's say you put $5,000 into Bitcoin right now? Like, you'd have to wait quite some time before you could say, okay, I'm going to quit my job or I'm going to move to another country. Don't get me wrong, it'd be some substantial amount of money in the future, but we just never know sometimes. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. I will leave the links to Monero, Pirate Chain, and Bitcoin Confidential in the description below. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you liked the video, and I will speak to you guys and gals later.